There was a very interesting article in Dear Annie in the paper Sunday. She was writing about the female, feminine and masculine, the yin and the yang, and how in our society we tend to really emphasize the masculine and downplay the feminine, even to the point where many women today are really portraying and using the masculine aspects of themselves to the detriment of their own feminine nature. We all have yin and yang. We all have feminine tendencies. We all have masculine tendencies. The question is the balance, and when do you use what? Now the reason I was interested in reading this is because it really comes in line with another topic that I've been thinking about quite a bit, and that is intelligence and intuition. Actually, it was really interesting walking this morning with my next door neighbor, who's a retired sergeant of police from South Florida, and a very astute guy. He was telling me that he used to give talks to older women in retirement communities down there, and that he would say to them, "Look, you didn't get to where you are today, without trusting your gut. If somebody comes up and doesn't look right to you, doesn't sound right to you, trust your gut, okay? And he says, believe me, if you call it, we will listen to you, okay? We will listen to your how you feel about this particular situation." I thought that was really great. That this very experienced and competent law enforcement officer would encourage people to trust their intuition. You see, today I don't think we put much store in intuition. We had this great pedestal upon which we put our intellect, our knowledge, our degrees, all that stuff, And look, I'm not knocking it. I got a bunch of degrees. But the fact is that we are overdoing it. We are just overdoing it, I think. It's that little, still, quiet voice inside of us that really gives us direction, that really helps me at least know where to go and what to do. There's a lot of times I want to tell that little voice to shut up and be quiet. I just don't want to hear it, I want to do what I want to do. But many times that's not the right thing to do, and I really do know it down deep. So, many years ago I read a book that had a lot of influence on me. It was by a fellow by the name of Moore. It's called A Canticle for Leibowitz. And it's a really great book if you ever have a chance to read it. It's about a group of monks that came about after a world catastrophe with an atomic war that destroyed everything. And in the aftermath of that war, the people that were left had a great hatred for knowledge. They blamed the scientists for all of this, and they burnt all the books. They burnt everything. They tried to get rid of all knowledge. And this little group of monks, founded by a fellow by the name of Leibowitz, painstakingly recreated those books, just like the monks of old would sit down and write the Bible and everything else, painstakingly by hand. And, to me, what that said was that if we make knowledge our God, if we make knowledge paramount, that we've got to have facts, data, and logic to support everything, we're going to be missing a big part of what we should be doing. On my own spiritual journey, all I can tell you is that I have learned to listen, to really listen to that still, quiet voice. I can remember before I started writing the books I write, the stuff that I do now, I thought, I really can't do this because people will think I'm nuts. You know, one of the degrees I got way back when is a degree in psychology. And one of the characteristics of a lot of people who are psychologically unsound is that God talks to them, you know. And we've had some terrible examples of people who have done terrible things because God has talked to them. And that scares me because I say, you know, what am I really hearing? Is this really my inner spiritual self, or what is it? And so, you know, we live in an uncertain time, and we don't have all the facts, and we have to learn to have faith and to trust. And I think there is one thing. I go back to C.S. Lewis. C.S. Lewis says that for some reason, at some point, we know down deep inside what's really right and what's really wrong. We can rationalize. That's one of the things that I've always been very good at, rationalization. We can rationalize stuff. But if we are really still and quiet and reflect and allow that little voice inside of us to really speak up and to be heard, I think we'll know what to do. And that's why I'm writing. That's why I'm doing this. Because I think this is what I'm supposed to do. Is it? I don't know. I don't know. Any more than I'm sure there's a lot of things that you think maybe you should do, but you don't know, you know? Well, to me, I cannot think this through. This is not an intellectual game. It's not like my Sudoku that I play every night when I go to bed, where I can use my logic to try to reason things out. This is where I have to just be quiet and use this great tool called meditation to be quiet and to reflect and to listen. To me, my spiritual journey and my relationship with God as I understand Him is much more listening than it is talking. I believe in prayer, but I don't believe in a whole lot of me saying, God, I need this, I want that, blah, 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 blah. I much prefer saying, God, what is it you would have me do? What is your will? I start out every morning, thank you, God, for the gift of life today and for all the blessings you bestow upon us. Help me, O Lord, to know and to do your will always. It's your will, Lord, not mine. And how do I perceive his will? By being quiet, by listening to that still voice, to listening to that intuition. Or, as dear Annie may say, letting that feminine part of me out and honoring it. You know, there's one thing about getting old. When you get older, you're much more in touch with the feminine part of yourself. I mean, old guys like me start doing dishes and cleaning the floor and doing all kinds of stuff that we used to think of as women's work, you know? And it's okay. It's okay. Well, that's about all I've got to say on that. I don't know if this is helpful to you or not, but I know it's something that I've really wrestled with on my own spiritual journey. And it's one that I've really come to just believe that God does in fact talk to us if we listen. But he doesn't shout at us. He doesn't beat us over the head. Well, sometimes I think he does and we don't like it, but that's another story. But the fact is that he does talk to us if we listen. And he doesn't talk to us through our head. He talks to us through our heart. And as my police friend said, through our gut. We know what to do. Thanks very much for listening, folks, and we'll be back at you next week with some more thoughts about our spiritual journey. Bye now.